good afternoon and good evening, because we have joined from the different part of the world, from the different time zones, and for next 2 hours we are going to discuss, debate, and decide about how green is our digital technology. Now, normally we do have a particular understanding, or the common myth is the digital technology is relatively clean. But in next 2 hours, with our distinguished panelists and the participants, we are going to see that what is the scenario, what is the current situation globally. So without any further delay, I welcome you all in this particular workshop. On behalf of Sankalp Micro Association, I welcome all of you. We appreciate to create this kind of a global platform by RISE Summit and ID Pro. So without any further delay, let us proceed for today's workshop, how green is our digital technology. The detailed workflow is just like this. We'll have our statement and objective of the workshop, understanding the concept of green digital, demo on how to measure eco-friendly website, insight sharing by the experts, key behavioral change of the digital users, key learnings from the workshop, future for green digital professionals, and obviously the vote of thanks. Now, for everyone's information, this particular workshop is being conducted in a hybrid format. Physically, we are assembled at Nagpur at the head office of Sankalp Micro Association. So all the participants have joined physically, and the other part of the country as well as the other part of the world, the participant has joined digitally. So once again, thank you for your participation. We all are aware that all these 17 goals, which is Sustainable Development Goal, the very existence of our civilization and our world depends on the proper execution of the 17 goals. Out of the 17 goals today, we will be discussing into this particular workshop on the goal number 13, that is climate action and through the digital technology. We will try to understand the impact of digital technology on the climate action. We will try to discover how the internet and digital technology affect climate change. We will try to understand why technology is transitioning towards sustainability. We will explore ways to make smartphones and websites more eco-friendly, and we will also try to comprehend the importance of improving digital devices and services in combating climate change. So let us just take a poll for all the participants. Let us just check our understanding level. How many of you think that the internet activity, once I say the internet activity means we just Google, we browse, we visit the websites, so any kind of an activities through internet, whatever we do, how much does it impact to the climate change? Have you ever thought about it? Have you ever discussed about this particular topic into your peer group? How many times we find the discussion thread on this particular topic into our social media? These are the food for thoughts of the day. Because of the fact, what we think that internet activity is impacting is not impacting the climate change. But the fact is it indeed impacting climate change. If I ask the similar question that do you think that smartphones can be eco-friendly? Because in today's world, we cannot think our day-to-day life without involvement of a smartphone. So how can it be eco-friendly? Is it possible? Maybe, may not be. So the thing is, this particular burning issue, we normally don't discuss into our peer groups, into our day-to-day life, because we think that like your smartphones, your internet browsing, what we do day in, day out basis, that is exactly impacting our climate change.
I absolutely agree.
So let us just set the ground for our discussion. So let me share some of the facts about digital technology which is impacting the climate. First, an individual email can be anywhere from 0.03 grams CO2 E to 25 grams CO2 carbon dioxide equivalent. Have we ever thought about? We talk about the automobile pollution, we talk about the fossil fuel creating the pollution, but have we ever thought about a very, very simple email and that can create the 0.03 gram of carbon dioxide equivalent up to 26 gram of carbon dioxide equivalent. For the information of everyone, the certain behavior we demonstrate because of our lack of awareness. Like in our early days, we never used to go to the post box to drop the letter to the friends or relatives or anybody. But we have changed that particular practices while communicating through emails. I received an email from my friend. I immediately replied with one single letter or or with some few words, which may not be very necessary. As the technology has empowered us, but we just forget, maybe in most of the cases it is the proper awareness is not there. We just respond, "Hi Sumit, how are you?" I received the mail. I replied immediately, "Hey, after a long time, I'm fine." Again, I received the message. So that chat keeps on going on and on and on. And I am thinking that it's harmless. It's good. I'm communicating. I'm creating the social, context much frequently. But how much I am polluting by following this kind of an male behavior or male culture, and which is ultimately impacting the climate of our mother world. According to Netflix, 1 hour of streaming by one user produces under 100 gram of carbon dioxide equivalent, CO2e. That is the unit measured about the carbon dioxide emission. Individually, this don't sound like much until you scale it to 5 billion internet users. That is the current base of the internet users worldwide who are writing emails, searching our inboxes, streaming music and movies and video conferencing, which we are doing at this moment with friends and co-workers. This is the fact of the light. We cannot deny the reality, the ground reality. We cannot really ignore the digital interference. It is indeed impacting, it is indeed helping our civilization to grow. But at the same time, unless and until we do have the right awareness or the proper awareness, our world, our climate is really in danger. In 2019 alone, more than 50 million tons of e-waste were produced This number is growing by 8% each year. Smartphones alone generated a little less than 0.5% of the total CO2 emitted globally in 2021. The bulk of these emissions come from the manufacture, shipping, and first year uses of the 1.4 billion new smartphones shipped in 1 year. It may sound this, we all are known about these activities. We all know that yes, we use the smartphones been shipped from the manufacturing location to the different locations. We know that the first year uses is how much. We may not be aware about the exact data, but we are very much aware about these facts. But we are not at all aware that through these activities, how much carbon dioxide is being emitted and is polluting this particular climate. Producing a cell phone takes 62 different metals and metalloids. I maybe for most of us, this may be a, wow moment, or what? The exclamation marks is been visible in front of our eyes. To produce a smartphone, 34 kg of raw materials need to be mined. And the smartphone production emits 45.3 kg of carbon dioxide per phone. So I believe once at 5 p.m. today, IST, we will conclude this particular workshop. We will, I think most of us must have joined from our smartphone or maybe from the laptop. I think the first things will come to our mind that have we ever thought about all this data, all this fact behind this smartphone, because which has become a part of our daily necessities, part of our lifestyle. We cannot think about the lifestyle without the smart gadget. Forget about the smartphone. There is everything, the smart gadgets, I must say. But this is the current scenario, and this particular scenario is not going to change. We are going to be smarter, and so that the gadgets are. And this particular session and the forum is not about any propaganda or anything against this. It is the need of the hour. Without this, we cannot grow, we cannot progress. But this particular forum and this particular discussion is all about how can we be much more informative? How can we be much more responsible for using all this technology? That is the purpose of this particular workshop. So now I request all the participants, because all of us are connected through the smart gadgets. So let us do, because as it is the workshops, we must do something on our own. And today I am going to give you a particular tool which is really going to give you an insight about the carbon footprint of a particular website. Would you like to know? So let us just do this particular things, and I would request all the participants, please do the same things with you. You can, I'm just keeping this particular screen for a moment, so you can, just type it into your browser, either into your mobile phone or into your laptop. You can minimize this particular screen and you can, the greenwebfoundation.org. So as you can see on my screen, it will appear like this. This particular website is from the Green Web Foundation, and how you can check the carbon content of that particular website. So as you can see on the screen, the internet is the world's largest coal-powered machine. Check if your website runs on green energy and help make the internal fossil free.
That's the one.
It's
That's
visible, the Green
yes.
Web Foundation. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we can, I mean, you can put any of the website address over here. So for me, let me just put my organization web address.
I think one of the things that coming is that there's so many tools that are available to learn about these things.
Yes, yes.
But we don't know about them. And so it's amazing to have opportunities like this to be able to learn what we can do to make it greener.
So this particular, I mean, because some of the websites doesn't found, so we can try with Rise.
There we are.
So this risespecofworld.com is hosted free. So this is an, I mean, that's a fantastic things that we found evidence that this website runs on green energy using data submitted to our Green Web data set. We can match this website's IP address to a verified green hosting provider. So these are the things, these are the website where we can think about is a green website or not. Sometimes it happens that some of the, I mean, climate action websites, they are not also the green, because it depends on who is hosting that particular website. Similarly, we can check that what are the different contents that particular website is generating. So here there is another site, the EcoGrader. So here also you can see the reduce emissions, improve performance. So we have to type the URL. And submit. So it starts calculating and gets the results that this particular website is generating the different greenhouse gases. It takes a little bit of a time to calculate, and we can see this kind of things. So these both the things we can, because currently these two websites gives a reliable data, but apart from these two websites, there are different websites which is really working fantastic in terms of the carbon emission is concerned, in terms of green digital space is concerned. So we will get the entire report. It takes a little bit of a time. So there's 14% and once a full report is there, we can see that, yes, how, I mean, all these things are there.
It's fascinating, isn't it, when you think about it, the fact that just came up on the screen just before about web pages being, 4 times larger than they were. And they're growing all the time. There's more and more stuff is being put on.
Exactly. True. And that is exactly, Kathy, the same things. I mean, most of the times we are not aware about all these things, and we just unnecessarily, make our website heavy. We don't know, how we can make our website much lean and much eco-friendly.
And it's not just websites, is it? It's also all of the emails and so on that get sent and added to. You were talking before about emails. It's great to know about this tool.
And which I believe, this is my personal belief, that this is the high time, this particular awareness must be included at the school level for the kids, because we all are being exposed into the digital world. We all uses the digital technology day in, day out basis. So unless and until we are properly aware about or behave properly as a good digital citizen or a good digital user, I would say.
It's absolutely key.
So the result is almost on the way. The 70% the checking has been done. Yeah.
84% now.
Yeah. So if we can see the different comments, that web pages are nearly 4 times longer, we can design and develop more sustainability for the web. Now, this is particular things that day by day, all the web pages are becoming larger, which means, so this is, we are here, yes, 100% checking has been done, and now we will get the report of yeah. So
I'm looking forward to seeing what's in
here
this.
we go. This is the so this is the EcoGrader score, 36 out of 100. Emissions per page load is 8.40 grams. We will see the different EcoGrader scores pages based on a variety of performance, efficiency, and user experience factors, as well as emissions estimates and green hosting powered by renewable energy. Page weight is 25, UX design 41, and green hosting is 100. So what does it impact to the climate? So the digital carbon rating, as we can see, the EcoGrader's digital carbon rating system gives this URL an E on a scale of A to E, because that is the worst. Because A plus being the most green website or the carbon rating, digital carbon rating. Page emissions. Assuming your page gets 1000 page views, you are emitting 8,400 grams of carbon dioxide. I'm repeating again. If 1,000 traffics are there into my website, each visit emits 8.40 grams of carbon dioxide. So that means in totality, that 1,000 viewers, 1,000 visitors into my websites emits 8,400 grams of carbon dioxide. Page weight, 27.07 megabyte. This page is 169.93% larger than the average web page. So this simply means that, because I believe nobody just do it willingly. Because all of us are responsible citizens, all of us believe into SDG goals, and all of us are very, very focused towards it. But it happens that unless and until we have the proper awareness, unless and until we have the right knowledge, we really don't know that what I am building at. So if we just go the further details, that scripts and media assets contribute to your page's emissions estimate, but they aren't the only factor. The chart below breaks down estimated emissions impact per page view of individual asset types at this URL. Images. What kind of an images we do use? That is 502.05 kilobyte, which emits 1554 gram of carbon dioxide equivalent. Scripts, 24.30 megabyte, which emits 7.5435 gram of CO2 equivalent. HTML or CSS, 220.82 kilobyte. Is the website. Sometimes they are not also maybe aware of this fact, because if they would have been aware about all these facts, they would have taken the proper caution in terms of developing the websites. And other factors, 2.04 megabyte, which emits 0.6344 gram of CO2 equivalent. So this is the scenario today, that what we can see into our day-to-day kind of, and so just think about that, how many times we use so many websites for everything, because without that we cannot really go forward into our day-to-day lives. So what next? So let us once again think about that, how we can go beyond this. This is the current scenario. So this is for everyone's consumption. This is for everyone's understanding. Kathy, I believe my screen is visible.
No, it's not anymore. You stopped sharing it.
Okay. Okay. Just a minute. It's visible now?
Yes, that's perfect.
Thank you. Thank you. So let us just understand, and this is from a layman's perspective. We don't want to be a technical expert. So website carbon calculators try to estimate energy consumption and greenhouse gas emissions caused by any given websites. So how do we calculate, or how do we measure? To calculate the energy uses and emissions of a web page, carbon calculators use data transferred through the wires, because all the data are being transferred through the wires. energy intensity of web data caused by streaming, for example. This is just for an example, but besides the streaming, there are other activities also. Energy source used by the data center, renewables or not. This is the biggest area for requires the whole lot of an development. There requires a whole lot of an mindset change. That which kind of an energy source I am using for the data center, and carbon intensity of electricity. That means the source of the electricity generation, and obviously website traffic. Now every website obviously looking for more and more traffic. So this is the way it has been measured. Now let us hear something from some of the experts and think about what they are. Some of them are expert into that particular field, and some of them are not expert like me. So what do they feel about this green digital technology? Let us hear. So let us hear from Ritam Ghosh. He is Master in Science from University of Pennsylvania, USA. Unfortunately, he couldn't join live because of the time difference. So let us hear the video message that what does he think about this particular topic.
No.
All of you are doing of the time zone issues. Brief introduction. Ghosh, currently pursuing my master's.
It's coming in and coming out. We're hearing little bits and it disappears.
Background about what I past. So I have done my in the new energy division of Reliance before pursuing my master's. Part of Reliance was based on hydrogen fuel cell vehicles running on hydrogen gas. I spent the last 7 months doing an internship at a large-scale startup.
So we're hearing about one half of every sentence.
Building large-scale electrolyzer.
You were saying something?
We're only hearing about one half of every sentence. So we know that he's a master's student and that he's studying in this space, and we heard something or other about hydrogen, but it's not understandable. And I don't know why.
Clear or not?
We can't, if you take a sentence, we hear a few words of the sentence and then it cuts out.
Okay.
So maybe we are hearing about 5 words out of 15.
Okay.
Water. Having devoted 6 study and applications in turn profound reducing the carbon footprint and steering resources. In this journey, the emissions has become abundant. Now the question arises, what are rapidly advancing life? We have to consider the environmental that has become an increased
Sumit, would it be possible?
Services and the widespread to the digital based world, we can't imagine using a device in our hand, be it our mobile devices, watches, or whatever it is. footprint of the digital sector, and more importantly, reduce the digital interactions. So, renewable certain steps which we cannot footprint of digital activities was network infrastructure and other thing we can focus on or the companies can focus. So every company needs to operate data centers by using energy efficient and using renewable energy sources. And switching to renewable energy, current non-renewable sources such as gas. The transition to renewable energy, the manufacturing sites, infrastructure give a huge boost to control emissions. So we can take steps in cloud computing, where serverless computing and other cloud devices scales the resources based on the demand. A lot of resources when there is no demand of cloud. And the one thing which I want to emphasize is the companies need to be responsible and disposal and recycling of electronic waste. Years or decades or when Google, Microsoft, Apple has emissions, they have to take companies, for example, Google Energy for 2017, the company announced that it had purchasing Google also continued uh, scale renewable.
Sumit, would you be able to summarize what he was talking about in the video, please? Because it was very hard to understand what he was saying. And I'm wondering if you could give a quick summary of some of the things that he was talking about.
Yes, this is
Because there was so much that he talked about.
In 1970, remove carbon.
So, Sumit, would you be able to give a summary of things that he's been talking about? Because I know that you've been able to hear the video, but we haven't been able to hear what he's been saying, and we haven't been able to understand it. Give
okay.
us
So let
some
me
key things.
let me just summarize this particular things, because into the digital, just give me a second. Just
Because we need to take responsibility as we're running our businesses and we're using these digital technologies. And he was giving us lots of different key tools to be able to use for that, wasn't he?
this is what what he was sharing, that the large corporates, they have started taking the steps towards this, not only the becoming the carbon negative. That means whatever they are emitting, they are making the other activities, the green activities, so that that can, supersede whatever the carbon dioxide they are emitting. So, like the large giant that is Microsoft, Google, especially they are using the renewable energy for their big data center. So, all these things they are doing. So, this is from the technical aspects, what the works are going on into the large scale, into the industrial scale. So let me just once again share my screen.
Because some of the other things he was talking about in there, I heard him talking about the recycling of electronic waste and things like that.
Recycling of, so that is the recycling of different your gadgets and all this electrical uh, equipments, that is he was talking. So now we have Kathy with us. From totally from different background. Now, Kathy, as you were live, so we all would like to know, because you have an expertise into the cultural excellence into the workspace. Now, let me ask that what is your viewpoint in terms of this particular mindset shift into the digital technology as far as green digital is concerned? How it is going to impact the cultural excellence into the workplace? Over to you, Kathy.
Yes, thanks. Thank you very, very much, Sumit, for having me on this workshop tonight. For me, it's really, really important to use the green digital practices to be aware of how everything that we do in business affects the world, because we are all people living in this world. And when we're looking in business, everything that we do is with our people. If your people are at the core of your business, and you're needing to be able to have really good communication in order to be able to have a good company culture. And more and more and more nowadays, we are using the digital technology in order to be able to foster that communication. And so we need to have those good communication channels to be able to support the building of relationships within organizations. For me, it's not quite as simple as just being aware of the digital footprint within an organization, because for me, my team has now been able to be a virtual team, whereas we all used to travel into the office, and that is very true in many of the organizations that I work with now. So yes, they're using more and more technology, but there is an offset with that, because they're not having to use the transport to be able to get to work. So, there is that byplay, if you like, with building the cultures. Some of the things that I'm doing with my team.
That's true.
Yeah, it is very true. And another thing that is a difference with using the digital technology as opposed to the old technologies. I've just spent quite a lot of time over the weekend going through and looking at old files and shredding old files and things from work. And when we are able to store things in a digital space, it requires less storage space in a physical sense, and we're not using as much paper, and we're not having to use as much ink to be able to print the papers. And so, yes, we're using CO2 in terms of the memory spaces in the data centers and things like that, but we haven't had to make the paper and make the ink and so on. So there is this awareness of resources, of the resources that we're using in the planet, whether they're visible in terms of paper and ink and those sorts of things, or whether they're the invisible things, the things that we don't talk about anymore in terms of the amount of carbon dioxide that is used to store or transmit email functions and so on. Some of the things that I'm very aware of in building teams is helping my team to be aware of our impact on the wider world, not just the environment, but the impact of what we're doing on people, the impact of our work on building relationships, on helping to build gender equality, helping to build quality education. And that's one of the things that I'm very grateful for, technology, because we are able to do that with many more people through using the digital technology. So there is that wider impact on building cultures through being able to use the tools that we have available. And I'm excited about that.
That's true. Catherine, let me ask you one simple question, because as you are very closely work with the behavioral impact on the workplace, and you must have observed the different behaviors, what do you think that how this particular mindset change or the paradigm shift towards using the digital technology with a proper care can be brought down into the corporates?
With the proper care, did you say?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's the awareness of that it does have an impact. Like in New Zealand, which is where I'm based, one of the things that we are wanting to do is to move more and more and more to, for example, electric cars and electric cars, electric vehicles and so on, to move away from fossil fuels, to have that different impact on the environment, right? But what people don't necessarily think about is that in order to make the batteries for cars or any of the other digital technologies that we are using, it requires so much minerals, and that's what you've talked about there. And so I think it is that awareness that when you have these new technologies, to be able to start to think about, well, what are the other impacts? What are the things that we are missing?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
right.
and there's also with that the temptation that people have to want to upgrade things, to always have the newest thing, right? So that you get this very high turnover of electronic goods, if you like. People have the latest smartphone and then they want to get rid of that and upgrade it to the next smartphone. But what happens to the one that you've just used? Is it just thrown away, or is it being able to be recycled? Is it still able to be used? This is some of the stuff that we really need to think about, isn't it? As we are looking at the technology, choosing the technology that we use. We're looking at some computers, for example, last longer than other computers. If you're having to upgrade your computer every year because it's not working, that's really very bad impact on the environment, isn't it?
Absolutely. So with this particular things, as we have seen that there is a huge gap in terms of understanding the digital uses, and most of the digital users doesn't know that what should be the appropriate behavior they must demonstrate in terms of the different using of different gadgets, using of different platforms. So things we can do first individually. What I can do, I can control on my behavior is reduce monitor brightness. It's a very simple thing, but we all can practice that. We can reduce the monitor brightness, adjust power saver settings into our computers, block video autoplay, use ads and autoplay blockers, and use reading modes in browser to display only text. So these are a very, very simple steps which I believe most of the digital users are not aware, or even if some of them are aware about some of the facts, they are not diligently practicing. So this is the first behavior one must demonstrate at an individual capacity, and then only it is going to impact in a macro level. As a web developer, obviously, whomsoever into that particular domain, because that is a great chunk of people, optimize images and use vector graphics. Most of the times we just send the graphics and we send the pictures into different formats. In most of the times we don't know what is the vector graphics is all about. It is much often, it gives you an accurate size into the perfect dimensions of that particular picture. So that helps to reduce the carbon emission content. Don't set your videos to autoplay. Reduce tracking and advertising scripts. Don't use custom fonts. So these are certain things which the web developers must practice. Streaming and video services, which is very, very popular. We cannot think about without the streaming and video services in today's world. Streaming and video services account for the largest share of the environmental cost of using the online environment. You can reduce your footprint by watching videos for shorter periods of time, by selecting a lower resolution, by not leaving the player on while doing something else. Streaming websites can reduce the file sizes of the videos they share. What are the other things we can do? As far as streamings and video services are concerned, default settings for many video sites and social media is autoplay. We all experience that. Wherever possible, for example, on Facebook, Netflix, YouTube app, turn off autoplay of videos and previews of videos you see while browsing these sites. During teleconferences and online workshops, enable the camera only when necessary. Sometimes we cannot avoid into that particular things, but yes, if back of the mind, if we have that consciousness and we have the right knowledge, I believe we can gradually practice and we can really, really demonstrate this kind of an behavior. So we should enable the camera only when it is necessary. For example, during the team building exercises, when non-verbal communication is important for building relationships, etc. Disable your camera when it is not needed. So these are the very, very simple things. Yes, Kathy, please.
That's a really key thing, you know, when you're talking about building cultures within teams, when you're having meetings, it's not just about the team building, is it? It's when you're having the team meetings and so on, where you're wanting to have that communication backwards and forwards with each other, and you need to be able to see each other's faces.
Yes. So we must be responsible enough to use all these methods, all these services. If we just compare this particular picture, 1 hour of an HD video emits 1 point, that is the size of that particular video, normally 1.5 GB, that from 4 to 400 grams CO2 equivalent per hour of video. And 1 hour of video in standard quality is a 400 MB. 1 hour of podcast, it is a 60 MB. One song in MP3 is also 5 MB. One email with attachment is 2 megabyte, and one email without attachment is 50 kilobyte. And one simple email, what we think that it is a simple email, it is a simple attachment, that also emits 0.03 to 1 gram carbon dioxide equivalent per email. So, as a website or company owner, I must change our regular hosting to green hosting. We have seen that, yes, some of the websites are green and some of the websites are not green. So we must convert our existing website to a green website. Swap online services for green alternatives like web search engine Ecosia has become famous for planting trees with money from the ads it displays. Obviously, those are the websites. They have started working towards that. There are some technical hindrances. They are not the best in version, but we must hats off all these efforts because they have started working towards this direction. Tech giants like Microsoft, Google, and Amazon are often building their data centers around renewable energy resources, which we have heard from Ritam's video that yes, all these biggies, they are taking a big steps towards it. Even among cryptocurrencies, there are differences in approaches to energy consumption because cryptocurrency consumes a lot of conventional energies and they are a big contributor in carbon emissions. While some developers strive towards reducing the amount of energy required to operate them, the most popular cryptocurrency, that is Bitcoin, still consumes more energy per year as the whole of Finland. So that is what one particular cryptocurrency consumes the equivalent more consumption than an entire country. So we can just start exploring the different options on the online domain. Like search engines, we can go and try with ecosia.org, checksea.com. Anybody wants, you can take the screenshot of it and you can try on your own. Email provider, post your mailbox, to turn to a run box. Smartphone, sparephone.com. Green software recommendation, greensoftware.foundation. Green hosting providers, we have already checked that the greenwebfoundation.org. I don't say that they are the best in the domain because we are habituated, we are already having the best version as an user. But these are the initial steps, these are certain initiatives which will take us towards the green wave world. So gradually we can transform ourselves from an existing system, existing digital platform which emits lot of carbon monoxide, which emits lot of greenhouse gases, which emits impact the climate like anything. From there we can start moving the greener technology, greener digital technology, and that is only possible when we will demonstrate the right kind of an behavior towards transformation. So if we have to just summarize that what is the takeaways from this particular workshop? The internet and digital technology impact climate change and contribute to a digital carbon footprint. This is a known fact and this is a proven fact. Making better digital devices and services matters in fighting climate change. Smartphones and websites can be made more environmentally friendly with methods such as replaceable batteries, easy repairability, energy efficient modes, use of recycled materials, and carbon neutral packaging. So all the smartphone manufacturers worldwide, they have started working towards that. It may take some time, but this particular initial stage is really going to change that scenario as far as green digital space is concerned. Green skills such as sustainable engineering and design, which plays a major role into this sustainability, into the green sustainability journey. That how do you design the product? How do you engineer that particular product for development? Are in growing demand, and there is a movement towards digital ecology. Individuals, organizations, companies, and governments can take small steps to lower their carbon footprint, such as reducing travel emissions, using better energy providers, and designing more sustainable technology. Technology, both new and digital, has massive potential for lowering greenhouse gas emissions and stopping them altogether in some cases. Green IT companies and services in different countries are providing sustainable solutions by using renewable energy, changing their manufacturing processes, and helping people make better environmental choices. So once we see this kind of an changes, this kind of an mindset shift, so we can really think about a greener future into the digital space. There are great opportunity for the green jobs. So whomsoever is the youngsters, whomsoever is youth have taken part into this workshop, there is a greener side for all of you as far as your career is concerned, because green jobs refer to employment opportunities directly involved in industries or sectors that contribute to preserving or restoring the environment, such as renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, or environmental conservation. Each and every organization, each and every corporate is looking towards that what kind of an particular steps they are taking towards taking care of the climate. So there is a huge scope for the green jobs. Now, what is the greening jobs? There is a difference between the green jobs. Green jobs is nothing but the different employment opportunity all the future workforce will be having, which is related to the environment friendly. Greening jobs is it involves modifying existing jobs or workplaces to become more environmentally friendly. That means which is unconventional work, which is unconventional position, that is getting converted towards environmentally friendly manner by adopting sustainable practices, reducing waste, or increasing energy efficiency, regardless of the sector or industry. Growing demand for green skills ranging from engineering and design to managing sustainable transformations is already happening. It is altogether the sustainability is such a field that it is altogether is going to create an employment boom, just like an IT employment boom. We expect to see millions of new jobs created globally in the next decade, driven by new climate policies and commitments. The say it been told by LinkedIn Chief Executive Ryan. So we have come to the end of today's workshop. The attempt was being made for through this particular workshop is to create the awareness amongst all of us, all the digital users, and to take the appropriate steps to become a much more responsible digital citizen. So we sincerely acknowledge the contribution, first the RISE World Summit and IDOBRO for creating such a beautiful platform to share all these particular ideas and everything, because they are doing since last more than 10 years into this particular platform. Once in a year, this particular summit, World Summit, It's really, really a fantastic platform and where we can share. I or the Sankalp Micro Association sincerely acknowledge the contribution of Inco Academy for supporting us with all these materials, all this content. Hannah Smith from the Green Wave Foundation for her for sharing her knowledge and for sharing some of the materials. Caroline Schneider from Climate Action Take, they are doing a fantastic job in terms of uh, creating the awareness within the corporates how they can make their website green. Obviously, Kathy is with me. So, Kathy, once again, from the bottom of my heart, I'm very much thankful to you because I know it is too late in the evening, but with all your energy, you had been participated, and we say thank you. And that is a very, very small word, but yes, from the bottom of my heart, we are really very thankful to you for taking part into this particular uh, workshop. Ritam, obviously, he is not to that, but I mean, he had sent his video message. So we will definitely try to consult with him that what more, because most of the things were too much technical, but we will try to take his help when how can we, as a non-technical user, digital user, we can make this particular world better. And last but not least, thank you all the participants in the workshop. Uh, we believe whomsoever we have joined, we have taken part into this particular workshop, we can be the change maker into this particular things. So all participants must mail your brief bio to us for your digital certificate of participation. And if you need, if you are interested, we are going to build a green digital community worldwide where this kind of an knowledge session or the knowledge sharing we are going to do. So this is the email ID and WhatsApp number. So all the participants can share your small bio, that is your name, from where you are, or if you can, if you want to write 2 lines about yourself. So you just mail these things or WhatsApp, and all the participants will receive the digital certificates from our sites. Thank you for taking part into this beautiful workshop. In case anybody is having any kind of queries or concern, you can, type it into the chat room, and we will definitely trying to address that particular things.
Sumit, I was just wondering if I could add one more thing at the end, which we haven't covered in the content of the workshop so far, but is also a significant thing that businesses can do, and that is to look at ways of offsetting, like the big corporates are doing, but there is possibilities for smaller businesses to be able to do that as well, and that is to offset the carbon that you are emitting as an organisation. And we are doing that in my company but through an organisation called B1G1. And so we are able to offset our carbon emissions. And my team is very, very happy. You know, we're talking before about building the culture within the organisation. My team is delighted that we are able to offset the carbon that we are emitting as a team. Through organisations like that. And so when people are thinking about green digital technologies, about being environmentally friendly as an organisation, think about being able to be certified as carbon negative and those sorts of things. You can look at the wider footprint that your business is having. So just an extra thought to be able to add at the end of our conversation here.
Absolutely, Kathy. In fact, this is just the baby step towards that particular direction, because what we are talking about, the uh, uh, carbon offset, because that is the ultimate objective for all the states.
Mm,
So this is a baby
mm,
steps, and that is from that particular point of view, uh, we are trying to create an particular community that where through
mm,
the right awareness, because see, I mean, most of us are directly or indirectly impact others behaviors through this, and that is the initiative we have just started, and this is just a baby step towards that,
mm,
so that
mm, mm,
once
mm,
this particular community become bigger and bigger, much bigger, so we can really uh, I mean, definitely we are going to achieve that particular
mm, mm. And
amount.
it is that that journey of awareness, isn't it? And you've got. I'm glad that you mentioned the web browser, the search engine Ecosia, because that's something that, having found it, all of my team members now use that, and we share it with other
Right,
people as
right,
And so it's all of this little steps, isn't it, towards increasing
right.
our ability to make good decisions for the planet.
So we should treat ourselves just like the ambassador for this new digital world.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's the purpose
Yeah.
of this. And so thank you very much, and thank you all the participants. And once again, my request, I mean, if you can send your short bio, you can mail your short bio, and we let us create this particular community, which is really going to impact positively in this particular world, and let us make our beautiful world more beautiful. Thank you,
Absolutely. Thank you.
and
And a
have
pleasure to join
a
you all
great
from New
day.
Zealand.
And for you, Kathy, for you, it's a great night ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much.